Hey everybody, Jessica Levinson in for Harry. I'm a professor at Loyola Law School and host of the Passing Judgment podcast. And today I want to talk to you about new developments in the Georgia election cases. And we know that Sidney Powell has agreed to a plea deal, but there's another former Trump attorney who has not yet agreed to a plea deal who is going to be facing trial this week. And I want to tell you about how that trial against Kenneth Chesebro is going to affect the former president. And the punchline here is, I think it's bad news for Trump. So what's happening? There are two former Trump attorneys who were supposed to be going to trial in a Georgia state court, facing allegations that they illegally interfered with the 2020 election. We know that now, because Sidney Powell pled guilty, that at least to some reduced charges, that only Kenneth Chesebro will be going and seeing the inside of a courtroom as a criminal defendant this week in Georgia. He is one of now 17 remaining co-defendants that Trump has in this case. And what I want to highlight is that I think this case is not good news for Trump. And I'll explain why. So Chesebro, as we said, is facing allegations here that he criminally interfered with the 2020 election. And specifically, the allegations against him involve this plan to send so-called fake electors to vote in the Electoral College. Let's pause here for a minute and remember that this scheme of sending fake electors is not legal, that these are people who did not have constitutional authority or any other legal authority to vote in the Electoral College. And that's what Chesebro is charged with doing, is helping to try and be part of that conspiracy to send fake electors to the Electoral College. Now, the emails that are going to come out in this case that he wrote, I think, are really damning for Trump. And what the emails that Chesebro wrote indicate is that he knew that his litigation posture here, that his legal strategy had no legal merit, that he knew that this was all about politics. And specifically, I'm talking about emails that involve potential litigation in Wisconsin, that was a swing state. And the idea of filing suits that would try and take Joe Biden's valid win away from him. And what you see Chesebro say in these emails is it has about a 1% chance legally of succeeding, meaning this litigation, but politically it's good for us. Let's stop here again for a minute. Politically, it's good for us, coming from an attorney. This is why I have emphasized to my students, for instance, that the post-election litigation, this is not litigation that should be taught in an election law class. Trump lost almost across the board in state courts, in federal courts. He lost in front of judges he had appointed. He lost in front of other judges. These cases should be taught in an ethical lawyering class in terms of what not to do. So Kenneth Chesebro says, yeah, I think that these arguments, while they're not going to succeed legally, they could help us politically. And what he's essentially saying is, I think that we can muddy the waters. I think we can create some kind of confusion, and we can say to Congress, well, things are in legal flux right now, so you shouldn't certify the Electoral College results. And there's some really problematic language that Chesebro uses that's really cynical, where he says, maybe we'll basically create enough confusion that people might think that Joe Biden didn't win these swing states. Obviously, this is not just problematic legally for Chesebro and for Trump, but this is really bad for the American people. It's bad for democracy because we need to have some faith in our electoral systems. And here we have somebody who's trying to shake that faith for political ends. So Chesebro is saying, well, let's just file the suits. Again, I'm paraphrasing here, but let's try and put legal pressure on Congress, and let's try and highlight the fact that the Supreme Court probably won't get involved, so then Congress should get involved. Again, all this is really cynical. I think it shows, the emails indicate he knew that there really wasn't a legal chance of success. It was all about politics. Why is this? Now let's get to the punchline. Why is this a problem for the former president? Because what we have heard and what we understand is that part of his defense in the Georgia case could be, I was just relying on my lawyers. This is called the advice of counsel defense. But if his counsel really knew that this was not a legally successful strategy, if his counsel is just kind of musing about political strategies, then that's not going to be a particularly helpful defense for the former president. I will also add for another day that advice of counsel defense is not quite as broad as the name indicates. So what do we know today? We know Sidney Powell pled guilty to 6 lesser charges. We know Kenneth Chesebro, all evidence indicates, is going to trial. And we know that the evidence that is likely to come out in that trial is not going to be good for the former president and will likely hurt one of his defenses. So again, I hope that helped you understand a little bit of the legal news of the day.
Hey everyone, Harry here. Hope you're enjoying the content from all the friends of our channel, great experts in their fields all. I want to thank them for stepping up to the plate while I'm away. I'll be back soon and I'm looking forward to resuming the daily videos. Talk to you later.